welcome to Astropsych. Today is July 5th, 2025. The time is 10:58 a.m. and I am hailing out of the Lynchburg, Virginia surrounding area. Thank you for joining me. We're going to be discussing the full moon in Capricorn, the buck moon that is occurring this month on July 10th, 2025 at 4:37 p.m. Lynchburg, Virginia, Eastern Daylight Time. Before we get into that, I want to just do a quick highlight about what we've been going through astrologically starting in the beginning of July. There's been some movements that are important to note here. Happy birthday, first of all, to all our Cancer star signs that are experiencing birthdays and celebrating their solar return this month. Towards the end of the month, we'll be moving into Leo, of course, and we'll discuss that in the next month moon. So with the sun in Cancer for most of July, we're going to see a shift in our focus from the mental pursuits and communication themes of Gemini, third house, the season we just came out of there, to more of home and family and emotional security, nurturing, and our personal roots. So this makes for the first few weeks of July more inwardly focused and sensitive, more fourth house, family, parents, security, home, below the horizon, where it's kind of hidden and not seen in the public themes. Now, on July 4th, which was yesterday, Venus and Uranus were conjunct. We have Uranus at 29 degrees, which we've been watching and talking about if you've been following any other astrologers or my moons and what I put out there. We are going to see Uranus head into Gemini on July 7th, where it will stay until stationing retrograde, and it'll stay there for a while and then go forward, and then it will station retrograde again, and then eventually nestle in by 2026. We're having the same experience here with the outer planet of Neptune and the bridge planet of Saturn, where they were in Pisces and ingressed into Aries. They're now also moving to station retrograde, and they're going back into Pisces to revisit a huge theme. And this is very important to see, as when these outer planets, as discussed before and just reiterating, they are the longer themed cultural outer energies that impact all of us. And of course, according to how your chart is how it's going to hit your certain houses and produce certain aspects and have themes and meanings that you can look at. But we can have these general ideas of what it means to have Uranus move into Gemini and Neptune move into Aries. And now, of course, Pluto has ingressed into Aquarius. So these three outer planets are really doing a major shift in the outer energies and collective, moving decades of energies that have been in place out of their positions and shifting them. We saw this with, Pluto ingressing into Aquarius after being in Capricorn. And we saw this great shift from, 10th house, social, career, authority, government, fame, Capricorn, which this moon is, of course, we control energy, very ambitious, disciplined, Saturn-led, methodical, materialistic, realistic, earthbound, rigid, serious energy. We saw now Pluto for 20 years now, until 2044, is going to be in Aquarius, where it's dealing with 11th house themes of the collective. Aquarius, fixed air, the water bearer, also ruled by Saturn, but is different here in that it lays its structure down on Earth for the greater good, for humanity, because Uranus Saturn ruling Aquarius is now dealing with these kind of ingenious, rebellious, very individualistic, communicative energies. So moving from this Earth Pluto to air Pluto, moving from this Neptune Pisces, Saturn Pisces to fire Aries, moving from Uranus and Taurus, this fixed earth energy, into air Gemini. These are the shifts that we're experiencing collectively from now until 2026. Things are going to be very challenging, very erratic, very revolutionary, as the last time we saw Uranus go into Gemini was 1941 to 1948. Uranus urges change and liberation from the constraints that make life dull. That is from Astrological Transits, The Beginner's Guide to Using Planetary Cycles to Plan and Predict Your Day, Week, Year, or Destiny. Highly recommend April Kent's book. I do not own this information. Here's what she says of Uranus transits, page 70. Uranus urges change and liberation from the constraints that make life dull. It stands through the 12 signs of the zodiac. Prescribe the avenues through which all of us simultaneously seek more liberty, autonomy, and opportunity for innovation. The extent to which this affects you directly will depend on planets you may have in each sign and the house of your chart through which Uranus is transiting. The years of Uranus's most recent and next transits through the signs are listed below, and she goes through the the decades, and a very, very powerful 7-year stint here of Uranus. It takes 7 years to go through a sign. It's approximately retrograde once every 12.5 months. It is retrograde for 5 months, 150 to 155 days. And it represents innovation, rebellion, sudden change, and freedom. And when it's retrograde, it's a time for internalizing revolutionary urges, reevaluating personal independence, and considering the genuineness of your desire for change. It is about breaking free from internal limitations rather than external ones. So Uranus shows us where perhaps we're thinking the outer energies are restraining us from bringing out our genius, bringing out our, highest aspirations for all of the world, all of humanity. 11th house themes, Aquarius is we know. So it's where, we're laying what we know down for all to see and leaving a mark. With it in retrograde coming up here after it ingresses in, it's going to be reevaluating where's our rebel? Where do we need to roar? Where do we need to bring in our own shift? Suddenly, quick. Uranus is about quick, sudden changes, known as the sky god, known as the Internet of Things, moving into Gemini, which is, I think, ruled by Mercury. Third house themes. We see a mutableness now to Uranus, whereas in Taurus it was fixed in Earth, a very uncomfortable position. Aquarius rules Uranus, its detriment in Leo, exalted in Scorpio, and it falls in Taurus. Just doesn't really like to be there, has to work harder, and it's been very busy deconstructing, changing, shifting, everything Taurus for the last 7 years. So wherever you've had Uranus, this theme is ending for you, but there's going to be a review. We're going into retro season with Mercury on July 18th, with Pisces and Saturn going retrograde, and with Uranus going retrograde later once it ingresses. So you're going to see this back and forth, highly unstable energies. So what can we do? Well, eat good, sleep good. Please hear this. This is important. The body repairs itself at night. How you sleep is a great indication of your health. Guard your energy, but don't be overly protective and paranoid, and just do you the best that you can do and let these shifts take place. They are not easy. Everyone's talking about it. I'm not going to go much more into it. I just wanted to bring out some of these dates, and understanding July's not an easy month, as we're seeing a lot of, I hear the word be flexible with Neptune and Saturn going back into Pisces. It's already ingressed with that great burst into Aries. We talked about this. Yeah, it's going to go back and review and be more mutable. Gemini is mutable. So you're going to have 3 planets in mutable signs of significance. You've got Pluto in fixed air. And you're going to see these planets here for a while. So again, Uranus 7 years with some retrogrades, but yes, 7 years in Gemini. Last time was 1941 to 1948. And I quote from April's book, previous transits of Uranus and Gemini have seen revolutionary advances in technology and transportation, both ruled by this sign. Gemini also rules communities and neighborhoods. And in the post-war United States, the emergence of suburbs created an automobile culture, disrupted existing communities, and led to a more isolated and fragmented society. Gemini is one of the signs associated with the mind, and radical ideologies can prosper while Uranus transits here. And if you have been listening to anyone talk about, or any of my stuff, about this transit of also Neptune into Aries, and how that could be some really pioneering, courageous Aries as I am, right? Fire, cardinal with Neptune can be, Pisces is ruled by Neptune. We care, where Neptune has this mutable nature, and it's highly impressionable, highly wanting to help others and wanting to seek others out mutably in emotional ways, and making sure that everything is okay. And it can bring a really intuitive, introverted energy with Neptune. And with it going into Aries, it's asking Neptune to be this cardinal extroverted way. And so, it can be radical, right? It doesn't really know how to be in a fire sign. So this is very interesting energy. And we'll have Neptune in Aries once it ingresses back in and does all this stuff these planets are doing, the movements they're doing. It will be there for 14 years. So check your Uranus for 7 years. Check your Neptune for 14 years. Where is this showing up? You are seeing with the retrogrades what you need to finish and close out. You cannot take it with you. And then when these planets start moving again, and like I'm saying, we're going retrograde through 2025. Then we're going to ingress again 2026, where we're finally going to settle in to some movement. Yeah, we'll see retrogrades again, but nothing like this. This is setting a new, I would say, 30-year, if you include Pluto, that's going to be there till to 2044, Neptune 14 years, and Uranus 7. These are very important years coming up for you. And so probably more than likely there are some things you've been going through that have needed just to be put to bed, needed to be done with. Like some of you, depending on your sign and how this is aspecting, could be finishing up some really good projects. So great opportunities exist. Powerful time. Please, please look at where these are going for you in your charts, these energies, these movements. And if you'd like help with that, it would be an honor. Email me at thecronesnestnetwork@gmail.com. In the subject line, put consultation, and we could chat about what it is exactly you're looking to have answered in your life. But if you want to do an outer chart reading, I'm doing those where we just look at the outer planets here, and we're just taking a quick snapshot of where are they at, where are they transiting for you, and what are some major themes. Very important to do that now as these shifts are taking place before these planets move in, because once these planets get moving, we're looking at fire and air. These are quick energies. And it's like we're going to see such fast innovation and technology that if you don't go in grounded and kind of setting your, I hear, set the compass, set the map, pack the backpack, like get everything in order, put your ducks in a row, because wow, do you have some momentum coming and an opportunity just to really achieve some of these dreams and longings and healings and closures and momentums that you've just been trying to get your sail under and get the wind going, and it's going to happen for us. So I want to open with the Sabian symbol for this full moon in Capricorn, Buck Moon, July 10th, 2025, 4:37 p.m. out of Lynchburg, Virginia. And this is Eastern Daylight Time. Adjust this moon to where you are accordingly. So the Sabian symbols, I tell you, take a dive into that whole story. This is just a Cliff Note version, but quite fascinating. I refer to them in my videos because I find they add such an incredible layer of depth. And there's different versions of them. There's the original, and then there's, revised versions, and just take a look. But Elsie Wheeler and Mark Edmund Jones came up with these Sabian symbols, and she was a gifted clairvoyant with severe arthritis and had problems physically in her body, but she was a channel for images and a psychic and other things, and was able to see what each of the 360 degrees of the 12 houses and 12 signs meant within the zodiac. And Mark Edmonds was an astrologer and a spiritualist as well. So he recorded this process, and apparently he prepared blank index cards, and it was, Aries at 1 degree, Aries at 2 degrees, Aries at 3 degrees, Aries at 4 degrees, all the way through all of the degrees. And Jones, they did this in a car, and he shuffled the cards, and he would draw one at random and place it face down in front of Wheeler. And without knowing the specific degree, Wheeler would describe the picture she saw by inward vision, a symbolic image or a scene that flashed in her mind. So these are those. And also, it's interesting to note that if the degree is 18 degrees, 22 minutes, right, then you always round up to 19 degrees or the next degree. You use a whole sign degree, and you always round up. And that's just the way that she did it. So let's go ahead and listen here to the Goldsmith revised Sabian symbol for the 19th degree of Capricorn. Now, this moon is at 18 degrees within the chart here, but of course we're rounding up. So this is what she saw. A teenage girl pushing a shopping cart, buys food for her impoverished family. Hearty self-sufficiency, demonstrating responsible adult behavior at an early age, but holding to one's views on what is actually important and what is merely uptight or repressive. Retake a childlike sense of fun throughout life. Battles with parents over what is and isn't important. Early independence from their parents may result in a problematic chilliness in their adult relationships. Social critics see adult society as irresponsible in its willingness to ignore the basic needs of its citizens. Realistically sizing up the needs of one's situation versus slaving away as if one were about to become destitute. A rational fear of poverty or abandonment needs to make time for fun and relaxation. Rising above fate by competently handling life's low points. Resourcefulness. All right, well, boy, you can see the timing of this moon with the United States here, and of course the July 4th celebration that Americans do to celebrate this country. And also there was the event of this quote unquote big, beautiful bill being passed. And I'm not going to go down that road, but certainly we can see how some of the language, little did she know, really does talk a bit about some of the implications of this bill and how we're responding. And also it talks a lot about how Capricorn is very self-sufficient and Capricorn is very hardy. It is a cardinal, not to be contended with sign here. Any of the 4 cardinal signs are active, moving, have a way of kind of get out of my way. I am moving out. This is not subtle energy, Capricorn, ruled by Saturn, of course, like I said. And Capricorn is we control. Capricorn is the architect of the zodiac and is ruling that 10th house, the goat. And this house is in the upper part daytime of the chart called the midheaven. This is 10 a.m. to noon. Very social, very career, very authority based. So we saw this big, beautiful bill. Boy, the controversy behind it fought its way to come out. And in the house of government, 10th house, we see definitely this moon speaking in an emotional way in Capricorn, this full moon. And the emotional way it's speaking is really not being very extroverted. A Capricorn moon is kind of conservative in holding this energy in and using this energy to do something with it. And with it opposite the sun, where the solar power is in Cancer, incidentally, the United States of America is a Cancer sun. And incidentally, the President of the United States of America is a Gemini sun. And on the 7th, right after the 4th, we had Uranus. We are having Uranus go into Gemini. So you can see how all this is working together here. And Leo ascendant, Mr. Trump, President Trump, is definitely roaring with his sun. The sun rules Leo. So we see a lot of symbolism here. We also see this ask of us right now at this time with this moon just to take a step back and be like, okay, How can I be responsible with my emotional energy? How can I take everything that's going on in light of the introduction I did and all those moving energies? And we're being asked to take a look at that midheaven where we're showing up, all things 10th house, which is the quadrant 4 of social expression, career and honor, an angular moon house, ruled by Saturn, of course. Let us remember that the 10th house being so highly visible, this is world authorities, public life. This is our guides and those high up in the world that rule the world, that are leading the world. So we're really seeing this take place in the United States of America. And it's opposite the 4th house, causing, this opposition 10th to 4th, an opposition of home, family. We're in Cancer season. So really highlighting this for all Cancer suns. Definitely highlighting wherever Cancer is in your chart. Take a look at this, super important. The full moon in Capricorn brings a culmination and illumination to these themes: career, public image, responsibility, long-term goals. So find your Saturn. Saturn's busy fixing to go retrograde, is stirring. It's going back into Pisces. When it moves forward, it will stay for 2.5 years. With this moon at the perfect time in a Saturn moon, asking you to say, look, where have your Pisces Saturn energies in the last 2.5 years? That's the transit of Saturn, 2.5 years. Where have they been mutable, Piscean, maybe not settled, maybe too mutable? Maybe you've been the victim. Maybe you've ignored things and gone into addictions. Maybe you've gone into the shadow with your Neptune. Maybe you've gone too far out and you've not controlled and managed to live on Earth. Your Neptune and Earth's just become a very difficult place for you. That would be Saturn's themes in Neptune, asking you to look at that. So wherever it's going now for 2.5 years, this moon is asking you, hey, get some structure. Let's get some Saturnian borders in place so that we can achieve something great in Aries. When it goes forward, when Neptune goes back into Aries, it's going to come back. It's in Aries now, but it's going to come back, and then Pisces go forward into Neptune and Aries. So I'm telling you guys, this is energy of a review, a very serious moon asking you to release that which is no longer serving you. With Mercury going retrograde after this moon 8 days later, all things Mercury, planet of communication, thought, intelligence, travel, commerce, going retrograde, we're going to see communication breakdowns, technological glitches, travel delays, emotional misunderstandings, needing to revisit the past, conversations, the way we did things. So you can kind of see the picture of what's happening here. We're being pushed into this review. And when we're reviewing, guys, we're not going out with our energy. We're not going forward. So some practical steps for you, right? Get a notebook, get some paper, sit outside, go to the park, get in the sun. Take a drive and get away, and let's do some review and grounding for a few days. Let's set some goals. Saturn likes this. Work with this moon. And let's say, hey, since Saturn's going retrograde in Aries, the planet of discipline, structure, karma, what do I need to look at with boundaries? What do I need to look at where I am going to be asked to initiate my action? And how are my current boundaries maybe needing to be structured so I can initiate action? And Mars, this planet of action, energy, drive, is shifting our energies into this very practical energy. Virgo is mutable earth, ruled by Mercury. Virgo, where are you being asked with your action, energy, and drive, passion, power, sexual energy to be more practical, to be more analytical, to be more detail orientated, to organize, and to improve your routines? Where is Virgo in your chart asking you in Mars, tackle those tasks with courage and precision? Go into this, get it done. You've got the power here to clean things up. Virgo is I work and is interested in very efficient, health conscious, helpful, logical, practical, punctual, pure, responsible, sensible ways of doing things. So, in summary here, guys, July 2025 is a great month of significant shifts. In the entry of Uranus into Gemini promises a new era of information and communication. However, the numerous retrogrades, Saturn, Neptune, Mercury, Pluto, will create a strong pull towards introspection, reevaluation, and slowing down, particularly with this full moon in the areas of responsibility, emotional, opposite Cancer, home, in the home, communication that's kind and forward moving, but it's nurturing here. It has a willingness to work with Saturn. It's a polarity, but opposites attract. So societal transformation huge in the outer realms. You can't control this. You can't control what these world leaders are choosing to do, but you can influence the vibe and the energy by, here we go, eating better, drinking water, sleeping well, putting up boundaries. This isn't like hard stuff, guys. It's the real simple things we need to do. And I want to say this so clearly because Saturn can be a taskmaster. And Saturn in shadow can be extremely, extremely abusive. And it can be where you're too damn harsh and you really come down on yourself and you place restrictions, therefore, on others, because as within, so without. And as we think, so our actions. And as we sow our life every day, so we build a legacy. And Saturn is deeply concerned about building something. This is from the Watkins Astrology Handbook, The Practical System of Do-It-Yourself Astrology by Lynn Burbeck. I do not own this information. This is page 180. The moon in Capricorn, I quote, security through building, the need to be needed, in the end justifies the means. In Capricorn, security is built upon a base of being useful to society and seeking justification in its eyes, for better or for worse. Such a need can incline you to undervalue what you want from and for yourself. This in turn can lead to feeling unloved, unwanted, or inferior in some way. This is why the moon is said to be in detriment in Capricorn, for seeking external approval to ally inner doubts proves detrimental to your personality as a whole. Whether it shows or not, you have a great need to be loved, so others come to rely on you to keep things together materially in some way. This can make you indispensable. But if having this need met means losing sight of your inner worth, you can wind up feeling a bit of a slave. In other words, by not trusting the importance of your own inner values and subscribing to those that outside pressures seem to dictate, you are in danger of feeling let down by both yourself and the state of affairs around you. However, it is important to recognize how and why this distrust of your inner self occurred in the first place and subsequently created a distrust of others. The moon symbolizes the child, both literally and in the sense of the child within. Capricorn is the sign that governs the big, bad world out there, concrete or man-made reality. So the moon is not happy in Capricorn, for the child is thrust harshly into the material world. This can mean that you literally had a hard or deprived childhood. Burdens were piled upon your small shoulders. Austere and oppressive surroundings were your lot. There may have been something lacking in your father, or a lack of him altogether, and this could have cast a shadow or your mother that was passed on to you in some way. Whatever your childhood circumstances, you learned that through material or emotional difficulties to become a survivor. So the moon rules Cancer, does very well here, and is detriment in Capricorn because it's opposite. It's not having an ability to really see the way the sensitive moon needs to wax and wane. It wants to really put too much structure on that moon, not allowing this freedom and cardinal movement that Cancer desires. Cancer would say, here's the discipline. You know, you were naughty, as the mother shall discipline you, but then come here now, let me hug you, because I love you when you're good. I love you when you're bad. I love you when you're happy. I love you when you're sad. And this is, a Cancer Capricorn mantra. I sing this over my grandchildren when, they're caught doing things that are wrong, and, they cry. And I sing, I love you when you're good. I love you when you're bad. This isn't about your self-worth. And so this moon can be really harsh, and it's trying to say, hey, release some of that shadowy side of Saturn ruling this Mars that can really be repressive, distrustful, self-doubting. This is shadow, inhibited, status conscious only, a slave to the system, cold-hearted, crafty, deceitful, a name dropper, concerned with status and who you know, and can use others, therefore. And Saturn can be very selfish, so therefore very self-serving and not other-serving, like the opposite. Cancer wants to nurture the family and feed and grow and, correct and lead. More self-sufficient when it's in Capricorn. So can have this feeling that life is just a meaningless struggle. So you get disillusioned here, and it can be very, very challenging. So a lot of power here with this Capricorn moon, but a lot of challenges as well. I want to bring out a few themes here in closing, and that is, this is a culmination of career and public standing. It's emotional maturity and boundaries, authority, discipline, and foundations, and release of limiting structures or old ambitions, and practical application and realistic goals. Some key words to remember. The moon is in the second decan at 18 degrees. So this moon has the power and signature as well as Mars. You have a Saturn Mars led moon. Mars makes this moon even more willful. This is where we're seeing the revolutionary energies with everything else I said, and that words come through 4 or 5, 6 times. You've got the moon in the house of government. It's not transiting there as of July 10th. It's in the 3rd, but it represents all things. 10th house Saturn, which is this pragmatic, common sense, power dynamics, moral duty, obligations, top down speak. As of this moon in that 10th house, we have Leo in Mercury at 13 degrees, roaring in fixed fire. We have the President of the United States, a Leo ascendant, bringing in his big, beautiful bill. Mercury here, self-assured, strong-minded, firm convictions, fixed opinions, expressive and forceful in the manner of communicating. And the sun is ruling Mercury in Leo. And the sun is opposite the moon. And we know that opposites are 180 degrees, dynamic aspect, very challenging. This constant slow action of, look, I'm over here, you're over there. We have got to reconcile and work this out. It's a contrast effort. It's stressful. Yet these energies are attracting. And it's just this energy that we must, in the collective, work out regarding all these other themes that I mentioned. So, practical again, things that you can do, mindfulness techniques. Put yourself to bed at night. Tuck yourself in with good thoughts. Speak over your mind. Go to bed in peace. Even if the world is going to crap around you, I can promise you, if you look at the alchemical rules that govern this world and you honor as above, so below, as within, so without, as my soul, so the universe, you will see we have a symbiotic, energetic, vibrational connection to a source energy that will divinely protect and guide us. Divinely protect and guide us. This moon is sextiling the North Node in Pisces in retrograde. Also a review of how are we using our direction of Pisces in a mutable way, relationships based on shared spiritual insights and values. How are we connecting to all that is spiritually and with others? Because that is a key. While it's in retrograde, opposite very practical Virgo, it's asking us to go out. Very difficult to do if you are a practical earth sign. Not easy, or wherever your earth shows up in the chart, and we have an earth moon. So with that, want to encourage you, watch your health, watch your sleep, speak well over yourselves, connect with nature, go out and sit and write down your goals, set some structures, set some boundaries. The power is there. The power is available. We have a lot of energies working with us. We've got a mystic rectangle. We have energies volatile but doable if you become the master of your life, if you become your own teacher and go in where the answers lay. You've got this. Till next month, blessed be.